You're welcome, and this is to Crossfire. I am still Ishama, and like I mentioned earlier, Dr. Banjo will be joining us much later, but not today on the program, as he has other core matters to discuss. Now, joining me on today's discussion is no other than Dipo Olayoko. He is a journalist. He is a seasoned analyst, political and policy analyst, and it's always beautiful having him on the program today. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure here. And of course, I know our viewers also enjoy having you on the show.
Thank you.
Okay, quickly, before we go into the main focus for discuss today, I'll quickly need your opinion. Nigerians will need your opinion on some of the stories which we took earlier. Now, the first step, the President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday received 7 governors, of which the media had already termed them PDP governors, to verge or well to claim to ascertain the authenticity of the president's, state of health and if he's still alive, unlike some of the rumors which have been peddling by some state governors. Now, what do you make of that? Do you think it's just unnecessary? Or?
Ordinarily, it shouldn't have made news, no talk of headline news, because it's normal when somebody is sick and then after, maybe while he's recuperating, you pay him a visit and stuff like that. All of a sudden, we termed it PDP governors to visit because of where we were coming from. Initially, it's like, okay, if the man is alive, let us see him. Later, they presented the picture of when he hosted the Okorocha group. And then later they said, why is it APC? Why don't you allow opposition members to
And then some persons tried to paint that picture as false, as an old picture.
That's why it's okay, if you are very sure, why don't you include members of the opposition party? And then the Nigerian Governors Forum felt, okay, let's oblige Nigerians. And when eventually the list came out, people were saying, some people were saying, why not for with Wike or even FFK? And some people were asking, is FFK a governor? And then now that the PDP governors have come to see him. But to me, I don't think it is purposely to ascertain. Okay. Because you ascertain when you are in doubt. Because I think majority of Nigerians never believed our story of the president was on life support. He has a speech impairment, or some people even went to the ridiculous of the extent of telling us that the guy is dead.
Yeah, but for the Thomases,
he has been buried in Saudi Arabia.
For the Thomases, for those who didn't believe.
I think the visit basically was just to show that the president that, okay, some people still care for you. So it's not basically to ascertain whether the man is still alive or not. I think that one has never been in contention. The president is a Muslim. Yeah. I pray he grows very old before he dies. The custom in the Muslim world is if you die the following day, you must bury you. So the Muslims cannot just preserve the body there, and like people are saying. But for those who never believed, I doubt if they will still believe. Because I've seen on social media, some people are saying he was having life support under the Babariga, a lot of issues. And that's why I say it is not merely to dispel rumor, because whatever you do, some people will still believe whatever they want to believe. Not because it is the truth, but this is because this is what they have conditioned their minds to believe, and they will continue to believe it.
Now, this is my opinion, and I may be wrong, and apologies to those who feel otherwise, but I have observed in Nigeria's politics that we haven't quite accustomed ourselves to what should be in terms of what governance should be. What we have is more of the cloak of APC, PDP, COA, mega party, or whatever political party it is that exists. That's the reason why we see our political terrain is more filled with clamors and agitations on political party basis rather than on Nigeria basis, rather than on a collective basis. Now, we saw that pan out since 1999. It panned out a lot during the previous elections. And now, unfortunately, we're still having that. And it's so far has proven not to be good for Nigeria's democracy. Now, is there any way we can try to tone down on political party emphases and put Nigeria first, put good governance first?
That one will have to do with the political elites, because they are the ones that are beating the drums of whatever you are hearing in Nigeria. If you go to the market or you go to the streets of Nigeria, Lagos, you will be amazed the rapport, the collaboration between the so-called Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, the dichotomy does not exist at that point. And interestingly, the level where the thing is coming from, when they are meeting to share national cake, they don't discuss Igbo, they don't discuss Hausa, they don't discuss Yoruba. But when one of them feels shortchanged, he now comes back to his territory and begins to shout at me marginalized because I'm Igbo. But when they are together sharing national cake, when they are meeting around 2 a.m., 2 a.m. to discuss how they are going to oppress us, none of them don't remember whether I'm from Igbo or Hausa, Yoruba stuff. But unfortunately, the Americans that we should have copied from, they are gradually drifting into our territory. How do I mean? Hitherto, Americans will tell you that election separates us, economy joins us. Yeah. Meaning that when the election time comes, they can sing all sort of dichotomies. They can use verbal attack. They can shoot from the hip, not using the gun. And the moment our elections are over, Americans come together and begin to say, God bless America. Yeah. God save America. But these days, especially since the Trump era, America has become so much
Republican, Democrat.
Yes, that everything is now seen from the premism or the perspective of Republican and Democrats, which was not there. Nigerians, we fared better between 1999, because I remember that immediately after the elections, we see people criticizing. I would like to say, without the fear of being contradicted, that the people that were really hitting hard at Obasanjo when he was the president were the Yorubas. Yeah. And no Yoruba ever felt that, oh, he's being persecuted because it's Yoruba. Like Yorubas were at the forefront. You are talking of Femi Falana, Yinka Odumakin, Debo Adeniran, and the host of others. They were at the forefront of hitting this guy when he was becoming like an emperor. The same thing under Yar'Adua. Nobody felt Hausa, but the moment Jonathan came, it became, oh, he's being attacked because it's from South, it's from the minority. Unfortunately, we carried that to the election, and it became blossomed after the election that nobody has been able to go back to the territory of Nigeria. Everything is seen from the prism of...
how do we curtail that now? Since we found ourselves in that problem.
Except programs like this tell Nigerians, when I say Nigerians, I mean the masses of Nigerians, that these guys that you are fighting for, this guy that you are killing yourself for, that these guys that you are even abusing, you are causing your forefathers because of them, they are friends. Yeah. They are friends. Because when you see them at a function, or when one of them is either giving out his daughter a marriage or the son is doing, and you see the camaraderie, you see the rapport. Let me give you an example. Before the 2015 election, Amechi, the former governor of, the former governor of Rivers State, was like a Judas among some governors. As a matter of fact, I remember vividly that Akpabio, the former governor of Akwa Ibom, told us that they know what they're going to do after the election, that they will make sure that they will close all the borders and make sure that they will take off, because they are going to arrest Amechi and made him to answer to the tune of being a Judas. But the moment the INEC announced the result and APC was declared the winner, Akpabio was the first person, when they held the Governors Forum meeting, to say that he even raised Amechi's hand up, that Amechi is still the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum. And some people were busy killing themselves, fighting themselves, abusing their forefathers because of these two guys. So if only Nigerians, I mean the masses of Nigerians, can only listen and forget to think about how do we make life uncomfortable for these rulers, because they're the ones that are making life uncomfortable for us. And when they come out, they will tell us, oh, somebody is doing this to me. But when they meet around 12 midnight, 2 a.m., they are friends. Nobody talk about APC, PDP at that level where they operate. It's only Nigerian masses can understand this.
Well, in politics, there's a popular saying that there's no enmity,
no permanent interest. What you have is permanent interest. And they are defending the permanent interest to the best of their ability.
Well, we hope Nigeria can overcome that. Now, quickly to another story. Now, today, the acting president, Yemi Osibajo, will be inaugurating a new world-class fertilizer plant in Port Harcourt. Now, if this is done and if it's utilized, this should be the world's largest single-train urea plant in the world. Now, this is beautiful. I mean, Nigeria has always been at the fore of we're doing something fantastic, but we have never seen it on the long run translate to blessings for the people. It's either it is mismanaged, it's either it is not properly maintained, and then it runs, comatose, or else it becomes some sort of milk ground for the corrupt elite. Now, this is a beautiful, fantastic project. But in the future, looking into the future, how do you say this pan out?
Yeah, looking into the future is, if we are going to look at where we are coming from, you will say nothing is going to happen. Okay. But let us just hope that at least a time will come, just like this reggae star from, from Brazil said, or Jamaica, that there's a time in the life of a human being when you wake up into reality. Maybe Nigerians will wake up into reality.
How long will it take?
Yes, that's what I said.
We have been clamoring. Since Nigeria's independence in 1960, we have been clamoring and hoping for the Messiah, hoping for that dawn, that new dawn in Nigeria's history that would, change things. And it's over 50 years.
And that's why I said maybe
So how
we are
long should
going
we
to
wait? 200 years?
Let's just hope that this one is not going to be like the others you have mentioned. Nigerians remember about 20 years ago when the Alaja steel rolling mills was commissioned and the other stuff like that, and people were saying in the next 5-10 years, Nigeria will be self-sufficient in steel so that we will even be able to go into car manufacturing. Up today, Nigerians are even thinking of selling that material, that stuff, because it's lying there comatose. Nobody's thinking about it. Some years ago, when they formed the DIC, Defense Investment Corporation, the objective was that by 5 years or 10 years after the commissioning, Nigerians will begin to manufacture ammunition such that we will not be spending billions and billions of dollars and naira on importing. But what do we have? At a stage, they even told us that DIC in Kaduna, what they were doing was making furniture. So, well, let us just pray that this will change, because I believe that there's a stage that Nigerian leaders, don't let us call them rulers, must even look at themselves and say, this is a shame on us. We have not been able to do this. Why can't we at least do something? Because there are countries that we started before them. We are talking of Singapore today. We are talking of South Korea, what they are doing with automobile. And Nigerians is still importing from these same countries. I remember the first time I had an encounter with the current President General of Ohaneze, when he was the Minister for Information. He came to us and then he was telling us, that was the first time I would hear it, I think it was during the Mo Absalam, that do we know that Malaysia today is one of the #1 exporter of palm oil. Yeah. That even the seedling they used to start their own, they got it from Nigeria. Yeah. And somebody was telling us that it is very interesting that Nigeria today is even not only importing petroleum products, we are even importing palm oil. So it's as bad as about it. Like I said, let's just hope that at least there will be a stage when our leaders, because if you're talking about followership, the followership are always ready to do what is expected of them. That is why Nigerians, the masses, are making a lot of breakthrough. Somebody said something on Facebook yesterday, a guy who manufactured something like, who built something that looks like an armored personal carrier. A Nigerian. That if this guy had been encouraged, all the wherewithal provided, this guy would have been able to do this. But you see a lot of Nigerians doing creative things with their hands and their heads. But unfortunately, the support that should have been there for the government, from the government, the conducive environment that will make Nigerians to now explore and explode. It is not there, but like I said, we hope that they will wake up one day, because we can't continue like this.
Well, we sincerely hope. Now, to other stories, before we go into the main focus. Now, the Nigerian Army on Tuesday rescued workers of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation who were abducted by supposed members of the Boko Haram, insurgents. Now, unfortunately, we did lose an officer, about 8 soldiers and a civilian. And then it's unfortunate, well, we know terrorism, it's global. We know terrorism, the dynamic which terrorism takes it's dynamic in the sense that you cannot pinpoint to a certain form and which they will take to attack. ISIS, the world hasn't gotten over ISIS. Neither Al-Qaeda or Al-Shabaab, which has been terrorizing Mali and the rest of Jews. Now, do you think Nigeria will be able to fully, I do not mean technically defeat, I mean absolutely 101% do away with Boko Haram as was in the past, in the 80s with the Matasine sect?
It's a sad reality that Nigeria has entered the elite club of countries that must live with terrorism for a very long time. Because the moment you go in, it's very difficult to get out of it. Up to today, terrorists are still striking in America. They are still striking.
Well, not necessarily within the territory of America, because post 9/11, a lot of measures were taken to secure their borders. But we have seen ISIS strike other countries. Syria, for example, is in a civil war because of the activities of the rebel forces and then, of course, pro-government forces. But then you have countries like France, certain parts of Paris, they've been attacking Belgium, unfortunately. Germany, exactly.
UK,
and then UK, and they've been attacking. But America, which we should emulate, we have seen how very consistent they have been in terms of beefing up security internally. Can't we get to that point?
The problem of America is even worse than the British and the other stories I've mentioned, because the terrorism that is affecting America is a locally homegrown terrorism. That is why you have those as examples of those those brothers who struck about 2-3 years ago, and they have always been there. The guy who brought down what they call the Oklahoma bombing, Timothy McVeigh, was an American. Yes. The Americans' even problem is even worse than our own, because their own is just like our own, because Boko Haram is a locally grown-up, developed terrorist group. And if you have them, because they can mix,
if you can say that,
because they can mix freely. Let me tell you one thing: it's only God is very benevolent. It's very good to us in Nigeria. I am telling you because I have traveled to different parts of Nigeria during the day and during the night. When I say I mean night journey, on several occasions, and I can tell you categorically that if we are deceiving ourselves, that Boko Haram or other terrorist elements are restricted to one area, we must be fooling ourselves. Let me give you an example. If you go to Baga between 4 o'clock and 5 a.m. in the morning, 5 in the morning rather, you will see trucks, trailer, bringing cows in. And you see many young guys hanging on that truck or trailer. Are you telling me that if those guys want to come in by 5 a.m., anybody is going to stop them? Let me give you an example. About a year ago, I was coming from Calabar. We got to Onitsha around 3-4 a.m. And then we saw one lady, one woman. According to her, she was coming from Adamawa. She had many bags, so many, and about 3 small children, that she was saying she was going to Lagos. That she boarded a vehicle at Adamawa, and the guy didn't tell her that he would not get to Lagos. The guy got to Onitsha and dropped her there. Wow. Now she joined the same bus I entered. That is why I don't know if the authorities of some of these luxury buses are watching. If you want to join their buses at their park, they do all manners of security check, bomb detector, metal detector, before you guys go in.
We don't quite have that.
No, they do.
Okay.
I'm telling you. But the
is there a recent development?
I'm telling you, I joined these joint buses a lot. Okay. Do you know one thing? The moment these buses leave their parks, and they get to Shagamu, they begin to pick passengers. Nobody check these guys as they coming. Okay. Shagamu, Idebode, Ore, until they get to wherever they're going. Guys are coming in, carrying all manners of bags. Nobody checks them. And that's why it is possible for a terrorist to move around within Nigeria. But let's just hope that God is watching and is trying to keep him watch on us. So what I'm saying in essence is that in the history of Nigeria, if you look at crime, governments in Nigeria have never been able to curtail or abolish crime completely. Any crime that comes up will flourish. There was a time we didn't have armed robbery. After the Civil War, started having armed robbery.
Because of the proliferation of arms.
Up to today, armed robberies are still operating. Later, we started having kidnapping. What do we have? Kidnapping is blossoming. Later, we started having terrorism. All manners of crime. No government of Nigeria, because the Nigerian government security apparatus was not configured. It's not properly designed to tackle crime. That is why crimes can flourish anywhere, anytime it wants to.
I need to ask this, maybe as a dynamic tool. Now, we know the Constitution makes room, allows for unrestricted access around the country. As a Nigerian, you have the right to move freely to any part of the country without any hindrance. And we also know that state policing only exists in the fragment of our imagination. It's not a reality. Now, if we were to have state policing, if we were to have certain restrictions, certain elements in the Constitution where restriction of movement may be allowed, permissible, i.e. for security reasons. Say we have state policing, and like based on the examples you cited, a Lagos state government gets intelligence, gathers intelligence information that there may be, God forbid, an attack in a certain part of its state, and then it moves to enforce that section to restrict movement. Based on the intelligence, I mean, do you think that would, to a large extent, help? Not just secure Lagos, but
restriction of movements is going to be hard, and the Constitution gives conditions or what will happen before you can restrict people's movement. the Constitution has given. You see that when somebody's insane, he is undergoing a trial and stuff like that. But a free Nigerian...
security.
Yes, for security.
Terrorism has become the new order.
What other countries do is that they monitor their citizens. Let me give you an example. There was a time, I have a friend who wanted to move from one part of London to another part. Then as he was doing the parking, later he said that he wanted us to go to somewhere, that he wanted us to go to local government, something like the local government. I said, why? Yeah. He said he needed to inform them that he has changed location, that he is now living here. I said, why? He said, one, for security reasons. Then two, he said for social amenities, that they will know that additional load has joined a place. How do I mean? Like electricity. If you are moving into this area, electricity consumption is going to go up because you are moving in with your gadget. Nobody does that in Nigeria. You can move from anywhere part of Nigeria, any part of Lagos. You just get there. Nobody asks you where you are coming from. Nobody asks you whatever job you do, you are only a new neighbor, and then you are accepted as a neighbor. That's why it was possible for Evans to be living in a highbrow area. And nobody cared to know what this guy was doing. They just saw him as a big guy who was riding a Range Rover 55 million naira. His neighbors saw him as one of the people that they should associate with. That is the nature, the way Nigeria is configured. Maybe there's need for us to, using the military terminology, to tinker with some of this aspect of this freedom that we enjoy, this freedom that is harming us. There is no country where you have absolute freedom.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not even in America. Not even in Britain. There was a time I was living in a house where my landlord, a lady, was living in Britain. He said at a stage when you get to a level in Britain where you are no more working, what you now do, you become an informant to the government. How do you do? He said in the morning, you'll be looking through your veranda, looking at strange movements, looking at strange faces, and you can easily call police. And when police come to ask you, what are you doing? People will be thinking, are they using juju? No. He said they are the ones that are giving the information. So the senior citizens that we are allowing to die on the queue while they want to collect their pension in Nigeria, they are useful over there. That is why they enjoy free this when they want to ride bus. Have amenities where they ride free buses, they enjoy facilities, but they also provide information. You will even be happy. The woman said that's what they do. It's not that the American or the British police use magic or juju, but the people give them information. You will just be loitering around. Somebody will just come and call you like a police. What are you doing? You'll be wondering how did they know I am here. The old women, senior citizens are the ones providing the information. So there is no absolute freedom anywhere. But we want to enjoy it here, and we're bearing the consequences.
Okay. Now, this story will take us into the main focus of discourse. The Senate has voted against the transfer of powers to the states. If we can look at it in a way, that's more like abrogating restructuring, as in the certain context people have been clamoring for, transfer of powers to the state. But then they voted in favor of local government autonomy. That is like taking something from you with one hand and then giving you something with the other hand. But before you make that, I need your general opinion, your general perspective so far of the move by the National Assembly. And then maybe you can streamline that to the Senate as regards the whole constitutional amendment. What do you think?
Ishama, any attempt by, though if I may borrow the language of late Chief Ganifawemi, he said the Constitution did not provide, didn't make provision for amendment of the Constitution. That what the Constitution made provision for is alteration. Yeah, that's the way he put it. Alteration of the Constitution. You know, Daniel was a very interesting person.
And they mean two different things.
Yes, because the Section 9 is very clear. Yeah. What the National Assembly can do to alter. Nobody mentioned the issue of amendment. Yes, the Nigerian Senate see the issue of alteration of the Constitution as a job for the boys. The Deputy Senate President is always the chairman of the National Assembly Constitutional Review Committee, right from the beginning. And we have had so many of them. It's like Nigerian Constitution would be one of the most altered constitution within the smallest between the shortest possible time. This is a constitution that we inherited, we got in 1999. And I can say categorically that it has experienced alteration more than 4 times.
But still,
nothing has happened.
It doesn't quite meet the yearnings of
Nothing has happened to the Constitution to make a revolutionary change in how things run in this country. If you know the amount of money that National Assembly budget for deconstitutional review every year, yes, it's always there. It's a huge money, which the members of the committee, under the Deputy Senate President, who is always the chairman, see as another of the national cake. I am telling you the truth. Now, the only, of all the alterations attempts we have made, the only one that translated into what we have as a document was the one that produced the 2011 amendments, which is the only one we have. We have had so many before then. We have had so many after that. But you see, if you look at Section 9, that the National Assembly can alter any provision of the Constitution through means provided by the same Constitution. The Constitution has given us how you can alter it.
Yeah.
Yes, the two chambers can sit, alter. And the moment two-thirds majority of both houses, because they are still going to meet together.
Of course.
The moment the two-thirds okays it, that is just the beginning. The Constitution says, because I think, okay, let me continue. The Constitution says, after that, this one that has been passed by the two chambers will now be distributed to all the 36 states of the Federation.
Yeah.
And if two-thirds of the 36 states, that is 24 state houses of assembly, okay, any clause, it becomes a passed document which will be forwarded to the president. There's also a confusion over there, whether to send to the president or not for his assent.
Oh.
No, yes, because...
As regards the acting president, you mean?
Acting president has signed executive orders.
Okay.
So he has signed bills passed by the National Assembly. But to me, he cannot do it without consulting the president, because the president is still dead. He's not dead.
Yes.
He's still the president of Nigeria. That's why at times when people say, Oshibajo should begin to tinker with the cabinet, ask, what do we mean? A cabinet formed by somebody. In his absence, you tinker with it. When this guy comes, what will we tell him? That I've removed Minister Lagwaja? He'll just be looking at you. Now, after the two-thirds has passed it of the state's National House Assembly, are you getting my point?
Yes.
Then it now comes back to the Senate.
Okay, I may need you to please pause on that thought, because there is a whole lot. I mean, like, the lawmakers also rejected the alteration of the second schedule, part 1 and 2, and which is very fundamental. But we'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll take the discussions further. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and this is the Crossfire. I still have Mr. Deko Olayoko in the studio, and we've been having such a fantastic discussion as always. Now, before we went on that break, I was asking the National Assembly, the Senate, voted against the proposed amendments to the second schedules, part 1 and 2 of the Constitution, which ideally Nigerians were hoping that amendment or that alteration will move certain items from the exclusive legislative list, which falls under the dominion of the federal government alone, and then move it to the concurrent so that the federal government and the state government can legislate on it. And it's funny how that panned out, because a lot of Nigerians, I myself, I was expectant that issues as generation of electricity will be moved to the concurrent list so that states can also generate their own energy and power, and then at the same time use it to power the states and possibly feed the rest to the federal grid. And then the issue of seaports creation and management should have been moved to the concurrent list. But then what's your opinion on refusing to make the amendment?
Yes, there's something you need to know. If you look at the last amendments or the ongoing amendment, because National Assembly has not wholly completed job on it, I think House of Reps will commence their own voting today. You will see selfishness on the part of those who are doing the amendment.
Okay.
One, they are trying to do what they call self-preservation. And then two, they are going to do what we call undermining my opponent. That's why you see them...
Can you explain that?
Okay. Self-preservation is that to make sure that their own stand is consolidated.
Like the vote for immunity?
Yes, like God bless you, like the vote for immunity. Because it's like some of them don't even understand the reason why the executive was given that immunity issue. And Nigerians are even saying, these guys don't need immunity, even the executive. But interestingly, the National Assembly has expanded the frontier of the immunity by including themselves. Excuse me. I'm aware that under a special arrangement that is not constitutional in any way, but it's still a law, there's something they call legislative immunity.
Yeah.
That is, whatever you say on the floor of the House cannot be taken against you in the law court. That one is already there. But for them to have now extended it to make it a constitutional issue, you will understand that these guys are up to something. I was talking about self-preservation. They were trying to do, because don't forget, the problem we have with the current Senate, especially, is that many of them are former governors.
Okay.
And a governor knows the power that is domiciled in the territory of a governor. And many of them know that if the governors, as they were doing, as emperors, continue to have such power, their own interests will be threatened. How do I mean? So many states, before you can become a senator, you must be a friend to your governor. And so these guys know that if they don't whittle down the power of a governor, the tendency is there for them not to come back to the Senate.
Okay.
So that is exactly what they are doing with the amendment. But you say, why don't they use like a drug that will once and for all heal the illnesses that Nigerians are talking about?
Yeah, because these are fundamental issues to the growth of the economy.
It's like, Shema, you need to take note of what I said initially.
Yeah.
That members of the National Assembly see the issue of constitutional amendment as a job for the boys. If you, like, I want to repeat myself, if you know the humongous amount that is budgeted for constitutional amendment every year, what do? This is money that they spend anyhow. And this is how many of them get their own part of national cake. And like a mechanic once told me,
against the national interest. But you may need to pause on that. Now, of course, we know Crossfire is a program. And if you want to join in on the discussion, please feel free to call in on any of the toll-free numbers or the numbers scrolling across your TV screen. We need your thoughts. We need your opinion, because the show is not just about us. It's also about you. You can go ahead, sir.
I once came across a mechanic. I had a problem with my car. This is a car that one guy has been working on, and the problem continues to relapse. Then one day, I got a guy, somebody recommended him. I got to him, he fixed the car, and the problem didn't come up again. So later I saw him and said, what happened? Those guys, what did they do? Are they not trained? He said they were trained, qualified. He said, sir, but if they do your car,
you will come back,
and you don't have any reason to come back, that means there is no need for them to be in the workshop. He said, but if they do it, then after 2 months, you have cause to come to them. That's exactly what National Assembly is doing with constitutional amendment. If they do a once and for all solution to it, that means there won't be any money for them to share in the form of constitutional amendment. These are one of the reasons, these are one of the ways these guys make a lot of money off Nigerians' interests. So, but Nigeria, whatever they have got now, because I am aware, the governors will also now have to go into the trenches and begin to mount influence or pressure
to lobby
on their own House of Assembly. Because let's take the issue of local government autonomy. This is the only means by which the governor and the local House of Assembly control the local government. And you think a House of Assembly will now pass local government autonomy when you know that their own area of influence is being removed by the National Assembly? The battle has just begun. Like I told you, for any of these clauses to sail through, 2/3 of the total states in Nigeria must approve it. That means that the National Assembly might think they have got a Pyrrhic victory. It is not.
No, it's not quite.
It is not. That is why, if I were in their shoes, what they should have done was to have done what will please Nigerians, so that Nigerians will begin to mount pressure on their local House of Assemblies, so that this whatever bill. Okay, you are talking about the United States State Police. National Assembly gave impression as if whatever they are going to do is going to be about restructuring. You are restructuring, wanting to remove the load on the neck of National Assembly, on the whole of the federal. You are now saying that INEC should come and be conducting local government election. What are we talking about restructuring? What is like at times that is what some people are now saying, that even a lot of people don't know what they mean by restructuring. It means so many things to different people, and that's exactly what they are doing.
But then they also voted against transfer of powers to the state. Well, you can quickly pause. Let's quickly take Abiola's call. Good morning, Abiola.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, good to have you. Please go ahead and make your contributions.
You see, these people, they are not representing us, honestly. I don't know what they are in there to do. We just need deliverance in this country, honestly. I tell you, we need deliverance.
Yeah.
I don't know what... You know, they have even abandoned the primary objective in which they are elected for.
Okay.
You know, God will help us. We still need, we are not there yet.
Okay.
I tell you, we are not there yet. Okay.
All right, then. Thank you so much for your thoughts. So we have another caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, James. Oh, we lost James. Please do call us back. Of course, we need your thoughts on the program. You can go ahead,
it's
please.
just about what we have been saying, that constitutional amendments to the members of the National Assembly is not a way of addressing issues that Nigerians are clamoring for. It is a means of how do we feather our nest? How do we make sure we clip the wing of the opponent? That has always been, for example, let's look at Obasanjo's attempt to amend the Constitution. They listed a lot of things, but inside one corner, something was tucked in it that would have given him third-term agenda, the so-called third term.
Yeah.
If not for some very observant and eagle-eyed Nigerians who read up to that and said, come on, the implication of this thing is not even what we are talking. So the essence of that amendment under Obasanjo was because of third agenda.
Okay.
So there's always a hidden agenda. That is why they were not going to make anything that would be acceptable to Nigeria, that would be have the interest of Nigeria, because they always have their own interest to protect. And that is what is always guiding any attempt to amend, to alter the Constitution. Because if you look at especially in the past few months, you know, the issue of restructuring became so loud.
Of course.
That every corner you turn to, interestingly, people like Atiku, people like Babangida started singing about restructuring. And we felt that at least National Assembly will at least do something that will be very close to it. Rather, what are they doing? Okay, they said they have brought down the age.
No, I may need to read this now, because the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, on his Twitter page, went on to post, we have laid the foundation for a new Nigeria that will create more opportunities for our youth. # Constitution review, # not too young to run. I will take your thoughts on that, but then let's take Innocent's call. Good morning, Innocent.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, I just want to add a little contribution to the program.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, the National Assembly, what we are seeing on them are just be selfish.
Okay.
The whole night, everybody in Nigeria is thinking of destruction of Nigeria for a good time, for our young ones to come and enjoy this country.
Yeah.
But what we are doing, the important thing is supposed to think of how the power of the center can come back to the state, so that the state will be powerful to develop the state, not by talking of military for themselves. So we are not comfortable for the National Assembly, mostly the 8th National Assembly.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Innocent, for your thoughts. Now, based on that, the tweet which I did read. Now, I know, yes, they want to reduce, they voted to reduce the age barrier, to remove the age barrier. Okay, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for joining in. Can you please turn down the volume of your TV set so we can hear you, please?
Okay.
Thank you, Olomo. Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Now, the lawmakers are trying to do their own bidding without considering the attention of Nigerians, especially on the position of power.
Yeah.
What can we do now when we don't listen to the masses? Because this is our problem. Nigeria is sitting on corrupt federal government. What can we do? That's my question.
Okay, well, you have the power of recall, I suppose. Well, I'll need you to answer that question.
Yes, that's why I said programs like this are designed, to my understanding.
Like, I know in advanced climes, when representatives of the people are not performing the function which they were there, because I expected that before this voting process went on, members of the House of the Senate should have gone back to their various constituencies, table this, and let the people vote, let the people have a say. No, but that didn't happen. Let's take George. Okay. Okay. Hello, George. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead and make your thoughts.
Yes, these local senators, they are not representing us.
Okay.
I think the best thing for Nigerians and the youth is to scrap them away, flush them away. They are representing their interests,
Okay.
not the interests of Nigerians.
Yeah.
So what I believe now the youth should do is to make sure that all the senators are recalled.
Okay.
They have no sense of human sense to take 60. They are nobody. Let us recall them.
Okay. Thank you so much, George. Thank you, and have a beautiful day. No, over to you.
You raise a very, very important issue. Because hitherto, whenever they are going to engage in these constitutional amendments or alterations, what they do is they organize what they call zonal, it starts with states.
Yes.
Then zonal public hearing. Some of us will still remember when Obasanjo wanted, because it's always a reference point, when he wanted to introduce the third agenda.
Of course.
The then deputy,
It was all debates. I was pretty young then, but I remember.
The deputy Senate president then was Alhaji Ibrahim Mantu, who was the man Friday that was supposed to carry it out. I remember late Bamidele Aturu, that lawyer, was almost beaten up by Osei's thugs in Adwekiti when they organized zonal hearing, where actually Aturu said nobody is going to support third term agenda. Osei that is talk to beat him. Even these guys did today, this time around, didn't even organize any public hearing. So it is just something they just shut down, and they will have collected money for all these things. Because there are, I will not Nigerians to go and ask them, always a huge budget for constitutional amendment to enable them to go to states, to go and listen to views. They, after the state, now go to geopolitical, they call it zona, to go and collate before they now go back into their own constitutional commitment committee. We didn't hear that of now. If Faraki is telling us that they have laid foundation for a new Nigeria, the question we should ask him, the question that they are trying to alter now, said that if you want to become the president of Nigeria, you should be either 40 or 45.
Yes.
Hitherto, Ishama, if you want to be sincere with ourselves, do you think it is possible for a 45 or a 40-year-old Nigerian before 2015 to become the president of Nigeria? The answer is no. You go and look at the age bracket.
How about qualification? I expected issues to be made because the Constitution says he or she should have an equivalent of an SSC. You look at advanced
and the SSC
nations.
is not even SSC.
Exactly.
You can have primary Cs, and if you have worked for so many years,
of course,
it is assumed that you have had SSC.
An SSC. But when you look at advanced nations, I'm talking about the power blocks now, nations like America, nations like Israel and Germany, there are certain qualifications which a president must have. It's either the individual, like in America, should have a background in the military. Why? Because they expect a president that has that background in knowledge that can put in issues as regards national security. Look at France also. Emmanuel Macron was a former minister for finance. But in Nigeria, we expect seasoned individuals who do not just have degrees, but have made exploits in their fields, and then they run. Now, do you think this bill, to bring down the age bracket, because we're wrapping up now, do you think it will favor just the elite and not the people? You
see, that's why I want to take on, so like when he said they have laid foundation for the emergence of a new Nigeria that will allow the youth to participate. The question you asked, yes, they have said a senator can be 25 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and the president can be 35. The question you ask yourself is, in the Nigeria of today, where you have a 30-year-old guy who graduated from the university, still going to his parents to ask for money to feed himself, who have enough money to go and contest to become a senator. Yes, they have made position for independent candidature. But the independent candidature is somebody that is going to be fielded, supported by a godfather. Because you cannot see an average Nigerian 25-year-old to have enough money to go and run. That's why we think what they should have done was to have taken a look critically into the cost. To have taken a look critically into the cost of running elections in Nigeria. That's an area we should have looked into and make it mandatory and make it binding. That whoever goes beyond this budget allocation or specification probably will get his election nullified. So they can be reveling in that self-deceit that they have done something new. But Nigerians know that they are only making provision for another constitutional amendment in the next 4 years. This is how much you can take on the program today. It's such a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much. And to everyone who joined in on the discussion, thank you so much. Crossfire will come your way tomorrow, of course, with more discussions. Thank you and have a beautiful day. God bless you.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. you go love am.